leasing. And solar, it's a lot different than oil and gas. It's a lot different than wind. We have different terms. You know, a lot of times the terms will throw you when people are throwing terms around. People kind of look and they say, well, I really don't know what that term is, but I'm afraid to ask. I'm here to answer your question. If there's any term that you haven't heard of, I probably have, and I can answer your question if you want to ask me. Some of the key terms: solar array. A solar array is not just one panel, it's a combination of panels, and it's set up in a certain format, almost like a set of dominoes. I was driving through southern Ontario 2 weeks ago, and I saw a solar array of about 30 acres. And when I went by it, I could see it. It looked like an all-black field from about a quarter mile away. As we approached it, it was like looking down a cemetery roll that was lined up with the tombstones. It was almost invisible because all you saw was the 6 inches of the panel from the side as you drove by. That would be an array. That's the arrangement that they have. The location. You see location mentioned in a lot of leases, and you see it not mentioned in a lot of leases. Okay? Location's critical. What are you worried about location? You're worried about the location of the access roads. Mike talked about that. Where they want to put the access roads is the shortest distance between 2 points. Where you want to put the access roads could be completely different. There is a way to talk to them about it. Not everybody is negotiable on it. I think they're going to have to become more negotiable if they want to use working ground to put solar arrays, because there's other working ground that will be affected by that. The other terms that are of interest is size. A lot of you are getting mailers from a certain solar company that if you have a 200-acre parcel, it says, we want to rent your 200 acres and we're going to pay $1,500 or $1,500 an acre. You immediately think there's $350,000 a year coming in, and you quit your job. Don't quit it so fast. Okay? I talked to the company that sent out that letter. They have plans to put 10 acres or 20 acres at the most to work, okay, at a time. And the reason is they need access to the local grid. And the local grid is not going to allow them to do a 200-acre solar array and put all that solar power in the grid at one point, because they have to, when it goes in, it has to be used in a certain distance, and that's the consideration. If there's no room, a lot of the due diligence they have in these leases is to figure out what the room on the transmission lines are in the local area. Term. Term is very important. I see a few young people in the audience, but more of the people are my age. If you're my age and you're signing a lease that's 20 years long and you have a 20-year renewal, that's 40 years from now. My guess is you won't be around to see the end of the lease, okay? Now, I can't promise you that, but there'll be a fair number of you that I can say that with confidence that, you know, you and probably me will not be around 40 years from now to see the end of the lease. Because of that, you have to start thinking about what are the other rules. One of the things you have to have the right is to pass it on to your descendants. A lot of these leases have buyout rights, okay? And the buyout rights are based on a formula. The formula would probably be a lot more than you can get for land without the solar array on it, but it may not be what your personal plans are for your property. If you have a family farm that's been in the family for 100 or 150 years, and somebody wants you to sell 20 acres where the solar array is, that may upset other family members. They may see that as a betrayal. When you have your lease to look at, you know, those are the kind of things a lawyer looks at, okay? The word reclamation is up there. I think everybody knows what reclamation is. It's after they leave, what's left, okay? Well, reclamation is an item that gets negotiated on a lot of these leases, and it's very hard to get them to reclaim the land to the level at which you want, okay? The minimum level for anybody with working ground is it has to be suited for agricultural purposes. Some of you are leasing land that's A1 farming land, okay? Good soils, highly productive soils. They're not promising to leave you with highly productive soils at the end of this process. It's very hard to get them to agree to that because those terms are hard to define. They're already writing a 30-page lease. It takes about another 30 pages to describe the qualities of highly valuable and highly productive soil. Value. you know, there's a taxation issue here, the local assessor gets involved. Remember, when you talk to a local assessor about what happens after 15 years, just like the people that aren't going to be around for 40 years from now, that local assessor is not speaking for the local assessor who's going to be on the ground 15 years from now. You have to accept the fact that things could change in your town between now and the time the next assessor comes along. So don't be surprised if 15 years from now, you know, you got a promise from the local assessor that the new assessor doesn't keep. That would not surprise me.